All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Another Wednesday live stream. Okay, I gotta get my head back in this. We're we're potty training my youngest, Emma, and while it sounds like a simple thing, it is very intense. Like you gotta watch her, and we did it with our first, of course, Izzy, but like it was so long ago now. I kind of just remember it being somewhat easy with her, but Emma's very, very obstinate. So like it's like every 15 minutes you gotta let's go to the bathroom, let's go to the bathroom, let's go to the bathroom. So it's just like, whew. So anyway, I actually have not been at the computer this morning. So let me catch up here for a second. We'll catch up together. I ran this handy little command. This is actually it's a really cool command that you should never have to use. What it does is it'll actually inspect your vendor folder and see any files that you have changed. You can think of it kind of like a git status, if you will. So Composer has a composer status, and it effectively will look at the files in the vendor folder and compare them to what would have been downloaded based on your lock file. Now, again, you should never, ever, ever have to use this command because that means you're changing files in your vendor folder. But that's what we did last week when we were proving this out. And I know about this command as someone who upgrades legacy Laravel applications. Occasionally, not often, fortunately, but occasionally, some projects commit their vendor folder and they have made changes to it. So yeah, this is a helpful command that you should never have to use. Anyway, what I wanted to do was see what we changed, because what we're going to do today is we're going to try to actually build this out properly now in the actual package source code, and then we'll link it back to the Smart Migrations sample, app. So let's pick up where we left off. Get a little drink here. Okay, PHP Storm, Smart Migrations. I'm calling them smart migrations. That might sound a little arrogant, That's not the way I mean for it to come off, but the world we live in today, like some people get all, huffy about certain words. It's kind of like a I think in Laravel terms, something I'm seeing used a lot kind of within Laravel packages and Laravel itself is this word guesser. This is kind of like a migration guesser. That would probably be the more, general term for it. So I'm using the word smart, meaning like I'm trying to improve them by guessing, what migration you're trying to do. I'm trying to be smart about it, right? So anyway, let's jump in smart migrations and let's take a look at what we actually changed here. So the addition, I'm just trying to get a feel. I'm not actually going to copy any of this code necessarily. So what we did in register, we still have a deferrable provider. I think that's okay. Maybe not. Let me close the chat. What did we find out about the deferrable provider? There was something very specific about it. I kind of forgot now. There was something about it where like it doesn't run boot right away or something, maybe? Question mark? I don't know. Anyway, this is what we changed. I think I will copy this just to avoid retyping it all. So I'll copy this. This should be all we changed. What else we change? Migration creator. I think that could get rebuilt. That's no big deal, I don't think. That's just a file. Migration creator. Yeah, we're just DDing out. We're just extending the migration creator. So what we found last week was that we could overwrite the entire migration make command. But there's really no reason to do that. What we're really kind of to be more surgical about it and therefore less of what I'll call a surface area and potential for changing against core, right? These classes could change in core, which would potentially make a breaking change for my package because I depend upon those. So to kind of decrease the surface area, decrease the probability that a change would affect this package, I want to be more surgical about it. I want to be more precise of what I actually mean to change. So the goal here will be, we'll just extend this, and we're only going to override the methods kind of on an as-needed basis. So that's the part we're going to figure out today. So I think I don't need this. We can copy it over if we want, but I don't need it. And then the migration command we actually found, we actually don't need this. So let's kill that. Okay, so let's get into the Laravel Additions package, and let's properly start messing with stuff here, right? So let's do cd. Oh my God, eCam, you are in my way today. Okay, let's get into Laravel Additions. Git checkout main question mark. Yeah, git pull. Let's make a new branch. Git checkout -b, we'll call it migration guesser. We'll go ahead and start tweaking the name here. Okay, and then I want to move, well, first, let's open this first, and let's paste what I have in here. And we'll put this here. Okay, so there we go, great. We'll let that catch up for a second, and then basically I want to move ... smart migrations. Let's pull this out. Where was that? This. Oh, that's not it. That source support migration creator, and I want to put it in source. This is just in my fucking way. Okay, source support. There we go. All right, this GST. Okay, we got our migration creator, just a sample. We got this service additions, or addition service provider. Let's get this tweaked in correctly. So let's import this. Oh no, we don't want to use theirs, we want to use ours, duh. Let's bring ours in. We shouldn't have to change any of that. So now everything that we customized last week in just kind of the spike out and the path we determined we want to go, that code should now be pulled over here into the actual local package. And yeah, does this have a return type? No. Okay, cool. So if we go back, let's open up two terminals. Let's go to workspace, cd, smart migrations, and I think, I forget how this works. I got this like composer link command. I think what I can do is say like composer link, and I say the path. So .. Laravel Additions, and then I want to change the Jason McCreary Laravel Additions package. Let's see. Sweet. Yeah, I remember getting this off Twitter. I wanna. This was a while ago. I wanna say this was from, I think Caleb or somebody shared this a long time ago. Caleb Porzio. But anyway, I stuffed it in my prompt, or my shell profile. So basically what this does is it removes the one from Composer, and it should symlink it. It should symlink ours. It still picks it up, but the point is we should now be able to say what we said last week, PHP artisan make migration, remove example column from table. There it is. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so it's linked up, and notice that the debug actually pulls it from our other workspace. Cool. We're cooking with fire now. Okay, we're cooking with fire now. So we've got our little sample app that makes it easier to run the artisan. It's linking back to a branch, local branch, on our local copy of the Laravel Additions stuff. So let's run vendor bin pint, make sure everything looks good. Okay, now it's time to start cooking. Okay, So let's actually make the make migration command work by guessing stuff. Okay. So let's pseudocode some stuff out here. Let's get a full screen going. Let's pseudocode some stuff out. I'm hearing some chat. Let me see what's in the chat. Hello is in the chat. Hello everyone. How you doing today? All right. Let's see here. What is our goal? Our goal, I think I had an old PR up for this. I could go copy it if I wanted to, but I think let's just keep doing it fresh. So what we're trying to do is we're basically saying that if create/table are set, use core functionality, right? And then the fallback would be like if guessable, let's call it. Well, let's keep going. If not guessable, use core functionality, right? We really only want to override, we only kind of want to catch this and override it if it's guessable. If it's not guessable, then just go do what Laravel already gives you. Again, we don't want to rewrite everything. We want to keep a very small surface area, very small footprint. We want to tread lightly here, right? Because I don't want to have to update this if there's ever a change to core, right? And also, too, the whole point of this Laravel Additions package is to prove out some of these features, and if they gain some traction and people like them, it goes back into core. So again, by making this really, really small, it kind of demonstrates and would be therefore easier to go and re-PR into the framework. All of these have been PR'd before and they've just been closed. But I kind of still tend to use this functionality anytime I'm messing with a new app. I just don't make a whole lot of new apps. I run Shift, I run a couple of these side projects, and I work on people's apps, but they're not new, right? I do a lot of consulting through Shift, but they're not new apps. I'm not really building that many new apps. But when I do, I reach for these 5 or 6 different features. Okay, so then if guessable, and then finally it's guessable, set, we basically would set table, we would set table and stub accordingly, right? This is kind of the very, very high level stuff, right? Okay, so right away we could probably just do this. We could basically just say if is set table and create, then we know that you passed in something that already kind of matches. Let's get into the make migration bit. Where is that? No, what was it called? It was called make migration, or it's make command, make migration command. No, that's not it. Migration make command. There it is. Get the wording right. It's kind of backwards. Make migration make command, whatever. Okay. So it calls table guesser, and then it calls this write migration, which calls creator create, that's us, and it gets the migration path, passes in the name, and table create. Now if we go back to this guesser, we can't, you might be thinking, okay, well, why can't we just override the guesser? The guesser only supports these patterns. They're basically a create pattern, right? And then it tries to infer a table name. That's really it. And we also have to remember we have a lot of different patterns. So yes, if we were just changing patterns to fill in table names and other things, we could update the guesser. And that might be PR worthy in it of itself. But we're also changing the stub, right? We're also changing what gets output in the stub. And we'll see probably in the migration creator that it factors in which stub to actually pull from. So because we might have like a drop table stub, you know, we actually need more control than just the guesser. It's not just about the guesser, it's about guessing and then doing a different stub. And I think that is better served in the migration creator. So basically, if we don't know what the table is because you didn't set it through a command, set it through one of the options or parameters to the command, you didn't pass it to the command, then we're going to try to guess it. And we're going to come down here. And only if table and create are set would we defer back to the original creator. So let's go ahead and do that. So now that we kind of know what this looks like, we would say like parent create, pass it all the stuff, right? And I guess, do we return? Probably. Helps if I spell it right. Why is this all funky? Unreachable statement. Oh, duh, because we're dumping. Let's change this to a dump, shall we? Dump. Does this return anything? I don't think this returns. Oh, returns a string. Interesting. Oh, returns the path that it made. Okay, so we do need to return. Okay. Okay, so we got this. If table's already set and we've determined based on Laravel that it's a create, then we're just gonna go do what they say to do. This also, what's interesting, to from in. Yeah. I guess if Laravel, we need to figure that out. I'm trying to figure out when Laravel does the different stubs, right? So let's see where it pulls stub. It says get stub. Okay, so if table's null, then it's just going to get a very generic stub. Otherwise, table is set and it's create. Do the create stub. Okay. And then where does the magic happen here? It happens all in create. Okay, fair enough. So what we want to do now we want to determine if this is guessable. So we could say something like if this we could kind of do the same thing. We could say table and create. Well, we could drop that. Let's say table. I'm just going to call this type for now. And we could say I don't have the right words here. I'm stumbling on the words. So let's just say guess action. And we're going to pass down name, table, and I don't think we need create. Is there ever an instance where it would be create but you didn't know the table? I don't think there's ever, I just don't know if that would ever really happen. I guess let's go find out. Okay, so self-create patterns as pattern. Okay, so it does start with create. No. You could never get, according to this, you could never get Yeah. See, this is like create users table or create users. You're never gonna have. You would never have create true without table being set based on current Laravel functionality. Now, again, that's all subject to change, but because of that, I don't think we ever pass down. I don't think we ever pass down create. I don't think we need to. I think at this point in time, when we guess the action, we could say if not type. If we come out of this and we don't know a type of migration, then we would return parent create la la la. Otherwise, it is guessable, and it's time for us to do our thing, right? Okay. Cool. So let's kind of go pseudocode this now. So guess action returns an array, returns a tuple. All right. So now we could just return table and type, right? So what is this? This is string name, and this is string, a nullable string table is what we pass this. Okay. So, so type is going to equal null to start. And table is just itself. Now we would basically loop through our own set of regular expressions to try and determine what it is, right? Yeah. I think that's what we want. I'm hearing some chat. Hey, Adrian, what's going on? Hey, Allah, I guess. Sorry, I'm American. I'm not the best with international names. Okay, let's see here. It's guessable. Okay, let's go back to the guesser. There it is. And let's kind of borrow what we have here. Now again, table could be set based on this. Table could be set based on this. So we should, if you already have these, we should like already be good, right? I think this is where I want to go pull up my like old PR. This is probably where I want to go pull up my old PR, so I'm like matching the functionality, right? Plus there might be some code. So let's bring up Chrome. What do the cool kids use these days for the browser? I feel like Chrome is like not what the cool kids use. There was some, I think Brave was out there for a while, or something like that. Or there was like, what's the new one now? Like Axe, or I don't remember. Anyway, I still use Chrome. Laravel framework. Here we go. Look at that, 20,000. So old. Okay, what did I suggest here? Yes. Perfect. Okay. So let's look at like the reality of these, right? The reality of these is drop XXX table is, is equal to like drop users, table or whatever, right? Or drop table users, I think is the real SQL. That looked weird. There we go. So like drop table, XXX, right? That's really what that is. Rename would be like, rename table XXX y, or whatever the SQL is. And then this is like add, column. This is effectively like add column to XXX table. So it's like add CCC column to XXX table, right? And then this is same thing, remove column. I'm just trying to differentiate these. There's going to be a very kind of strict convention about this. While I want to kind of support what Laravel Guessers currently does, there's obviously going to be like some things here, right? So this is like drop or remove, I guess, remove column from XXX table, right? I kind of want like, this is where I want to think about the wording, right? Add, drop, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So add, like create and stuff already exists. I think I'm going to call this drop. It's like, how technical do you want to be? We're not saying like alter, we're saying add. And here we're saying, is it like drop? What's more natural, right? When you're making a migration, do you say remove, remove whatever from whatever? Is it remove column from table, or do you say drop column from table? I don't think you probably say drop column. I think you say remove, right? Quick poll in the chat. Let me know. So let me know in the chat what you think. I know there's not a whole lot of people watching live, but for those that are, you get to vote and dictate what this should be. I feel like remove is a little more human here than drop. I know drop technically is what's happening underneath, but I feel like remove would be more natural when I was writing a migration name. And then, of course, rename column to column in table. So this would be like rename column to rename column in table, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess we could be flexible, like drop, delete, or remove. Yeah. I'm just getting a feel for how many I want to support here. We're not going to write all of these today, but I could start writing a few. Okay. So we've got a drop table, we got to rename a table. Create table is already covered by the framework. And then add column is that's pretty generic, but the point is that with column, we're actually going to stuff in the column in part of it. So again, we can fill in just a little bit more in migration. So that more or less already exists, but we're going to kind of improve upon it. Remove column effectively generates a drop column schema call, so that's fine. Same with rename column. So if we know that we're renaming from and to, that's fine. We'll go from there. I do think there's some caveats in modern Laravel though. When you rename, you have to like retype it potentially. I don't know. We'll look that up. There was one more I thought of just a minute ago. I don't know which one I thought of a minute ago. If it comes back to me, it comes back to me. I think this is pretty good. I think this is pretty good. So I think we're just going to have a crap load. This is not going to be a pretty method because this is kind of where the guessing happens, but I don't want to make yet another guesser. I'm fine. This is like a 40-line class. I'm fine to just kind of put it here. So let's just kind of start writing a few of these out. So we'll basically say SQL types are preserved on rename. Cool. That makes our job easier. So we'll say if preg match, and then we'll say drop and then optionally you could have table at the end of this. Then we would say return yeah, we kind of don't need to do all this. We would kind of just say like return matches. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna like hold that for now. I don't think I need it. So we'll say return matches and then type is drop. That might need to say drop table, but for now, we'll do that. Okay, so this one's very, very strict. You basically have to say something like drop users. Let's write some of these out. I think you basically have to say something like drop users or, you know, drop users table. I don't think I'm gonna support, I mean, it doesn't take anything to support remove, I suppose. I think when it comes to tables, I think people use the word drop. I mean, it doesn't take anything for me to also, doesn't take anything for me to support that. So I will, but I'm gonna document it as drop. Okay, so then now we've got else if, fill me in here. I wish it would fill that in. It should be able to fill that in. So now we're gonna say rename blank and then to, and then again blank. This one's gonna be pretty specific. So yeah, you would have to rename X to Y. I don't think you put in table here. To me, I don't think this gets suffixed with table, right? So yeah, I think, oh, and this should probably be optional. Okay, and then hold on, let me write a few more of these and then we'll clean them up. They're a little fast and loose. So here we return that. So that's that. And then else if, it keeps giving me create. This is the one that gets a little, interesting, but we could say something here like add. We probably want to support more things here, but we'll say add. And then I think you have to say to. Now there might be, I think add to is, you're not going to say add from or add in. I guess you might say in. Add string in X table. Like what does the guesser do? They have to, from, and in. It's kind of loose. I'm going to leave it just to for now. And same thing, we're going to add whatever to whatever, and you can always kind of suffix it with table. I think if you can suffix all this with table, I'll probably just normalize name up here, and then I can tighten up these regexes a lot. But this is basically return matches 1 and add. Good, now it's starting to learn. It's still doing create table. So we'll say remove. And here's where we can, you know, again, be a little more supportive. So we can say something like drop or remove. Here I think you say from, and here I think you do something close to that, I would think. And then this is not drop. We're going to call this remove internally. And then that takes care of that. So remove from. I'm okay making this in. From or in. I'm okay with that. And then let's borrow this one because it's basically the same. And then here we would say rename. And now, yeah, this is where we get a little bit funky. I think we're gonna have to normalize the types to be like drop table, rename table, add column, remove column. We're gonna need to do all that. We probably need to pass. Oh no, we're already passing that. Yeah, see, some of these are gonna be a different tuple. Some of these, the tuple's gonna need more stuff. Okay, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out in a second. Let's finish this for a second. So rename, rename stripe ID. Oh, okay. This one's complex. Rename stripe ID to X. Whoops, from or in no, see, no. Yeah, this is just where you kind of have to like draw a line and say, no, this is the way that we support this kind of stuff. Okay, I heard some chat. Let's see what's going on in the chat. You probably want to update your matches index now you've added an EU group, an EW group, a new group. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I caught up there. I think we're caught up there. How smart are these migrations going to be? I'm thinking about a migration to add indexes named in the form of add index. Yeah. Yep. I think that's a very fast follow PR. You could add an index for sure. You could use look ahead, ? Where would I need a look ahead? I don't think I need any look aheads here. Could I use one? Sure. I don't think I need any of them. They're pretty deterministic, right? Like drop and remove, this would match. There's no way like this can match this. You know what I mean? So I don't know where I would need one. Let me know if you were thinking of something else though. Okay, yes, let's figure out this incorrect grouping thing. So yeah, if we don't find anything, then we probably need, we return null on the type because we didn't find anything we cared about here, and we want to defer to Laravel. So I think this is fine. We're not going to override table. We're just going to, whatever you passed in as table, that's what's coming back to you. I mean, theoretically, we could pass nothing back here. But I think if you did that, then it's going to null out table. So we don't want to do that. I think we want to do this. Just give you table back however it was. Could be null. Yes. Okay, let's start fixing some of these groupings, right? Yes, you're correct. Okay, I see. A non-matching group. That's what you said. Sorry, you said look ahead. I was confused. Okay, yes. Non-matching. Let's do a non-matching there. So the first one in this case is correct. It should be that. And again, you're right. I mean, technically we don't need the matching here. And this is, everyone has this. Every one of them has this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and normalize. Every single one of them has this. Does it matter? If we knew it ended in underscore table, we're always removing that. The only way that would be a problem is if you were renaming something where you wanted it to say literally underscore table. That's the only time it would matter. But Laravel, does Laravel do that? Laravel probably already does that. You know, Laravel probably already has that boundary case. I mean, we could go test that. It's a very simple test. You just make a migration that says like create. Yeah, you can't say create user. You can't say create underscore users underscore table and Laravel currently give you a create statement for a users underscore table. Like literally the name user. So I think it's okay to chop this is kind of what that thought process was. So let's just chop this and normalize the name, right? So let's chop this off of all of them. And we'll basically say if name, we'll just say str ends with, let's use the string helpers because I think they have some better UTF support. So we'll say ends with table, right? If it ends with table, then we'll chop it. Let's bring in Laravel's support. And then we would basically say name equals, it could really be before last, or we could just substring it. -4? That's not right. It's a terrible guess. -6. Yeah, I think the other one reads better, but this feels, for whatever reason, it feels more performant to me. Not that should matter. Okay, so basically we're gonna normalize the name because we're not returning it, so we can mess with it locally. We can normalize the name to chop off table to clean up some of these regular expressions and just kind of remove, not capturing and all this crap. Okay, so let's finish out our groups. So we're returning matches here. The rename here is a little bit of a problem because we actually need both. So what do I want to do here? Do I want to flip this on its head and pass back kind of an arbitrary tuple? Or do I want to pass back a tuple that has like what we're doing, the type of thing we're doing, and then the data for that thing? I don't have to match up what I'm doing anymore. It makes it a little bit tough in the event that we fall through, like if we get down here. So it's probably best to just add like some kind of data here. It's probably best to just add some kind of data there. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? So much to think about. Okay, let's see here. Let's finish this out, and I think we're gonna have to go to a part 3 because this is taking a second. This one doesn't need to do anything. This one doesn't have any additional data. This one does have some additional data. See, the thing is, like, some of these table, like this one, table's gonna be null, kind of, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do here. This is like matches 2, right? I don't know. So here we're going to add the column. So this is like matches 2 again. I'm just trying to see how many of these have like a matches 2 kind of thing. So here's another matches 2. We don't need that, so let's get rid of that. So that's another one. It did guess that well. Good job. Good job, AI. This one has 3. Okay. Okay. So let's correct this. Let's go back up here and we'll say data. And then I think now, so to do, it's guessable. Populate the stub accordingly and save and write file, right? Okay. What I'm gonna do now is ddd table, type, and data. Let's find some boundary cases in this real quick, just so I have some documentation. I'll probably finish up the boundary cases off stream, and then next week we'll do this, and then I think it's done. I think this is gonna take some tweaking, so like I wanna kind of toy with it a little bit. So let's go toy with it for a little bit, and then I think that'll be the end of today's stream. So let's run this again. And what we should end up seeing here, we need to get this a little more aligned. So we could say something like, let's do a couple different things. Let's do remove. So it's definitely normalizing this for us. That was going to be my first question. So it's normalizing this for us. So let's say remove. Let's say something like remove stripe ID from users, right? We're dropping cashier support or something like that. Let's see what this finds. Okay, undefined array key 2, migrations creator 17. Okay, we got a little bug here. Let's see what's going on. Undefined array key. Oh, you always have to pass it back. Yeah. I think you always have to pass one back. Otherwise, it doesn't like us. Okay, let's try this again and see if that error goes away. Okay, there we go. Cool. So we did fix it. Okay, so we have, so it normalizes the name. That was going to be my first curiosity. And so now it gave us back stripe ID from users, migrations 23. It gave us drop as the type, and it gave us migration creator gave us an empty bit. Something's wrong. Something feels wrong there. Table, type, and data. Data should be empty, that's fine. Type is that. Why do we have the whole name? Why do we have the whole name here? Matches 1. Matches 1 should be that. Why are we returning the whole name? Why would we return the whole name? Dump matches. Remove stripe ID from users, stripe ID from users. Why the hell is it pulling the whole thing? Oh, it's not a drop. It's not a drop. Yeah. Yeah, I think the order, yes. The order of these regexes are actually going to have to be fine-tuned. Yep. These two need to be first. And basically the table stuff. This table stuff doesn't have to be last, but I think life would be easier if it was. There we go. Let's try this. Okay, there we go. That feels better. Remove. That feels a little better. Oh, I just don't have my non-matching stuff here. This one's rename. I don't think we changed that, so that's fine. We don't want to capture that. Okay, and we got drop. Okay, everything else is deterministic, and we're no longer capturing the other stuff. So this, let's get rid of our extra dumps and get back to where we're trying to go here. Okay, so we pass in remove stripe ID from users. It already determined that it's the users table. Okay, our order, okay. It's getting the right stuff, but it's not matched up correctly. Okay, so really sorry. The table here is the last thing, and this is the first thing. Yeah, again, these are just gonna need a little tweaking. We wrote them a little fast and loose. So basically what I need to do is I just need to go add a test. I need to backfill a test. That's what I'm going to do off stream. I'm going to backfill a test and make sure all these are doing what we expect. But we've demonstrated here that remove Stripe ID from users is now pulling the right stuff. It is now saying the table is users. The action or type, the thing that we're going to do is remove, and then the special data now is Stripe ID. There's one more little variation I want to check, and then I'll go write a test to actually check for every possible combination that I'm going to support. So we'll say remove dash Stripe dash ID dash from dash users. Okay, see, it does not normalize it. And we deferred. It doesn't normalize it, but we deferred. That's okay. We want to support this, though. We want to support dashes. I don't care if it kicks out a file name with dashes, but we want to support dashes. So let's do one more thing. Here's where it's tricky. I think this will be better driven out with tests. I can't normalize it. If I normalize it and change dashes to underscores, then your column name wouldn't technically have dashes the way it was supposed to. Now I could track if I changed it and la 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 and then put it back. I could also just update this to be like a separator and, ignore it. That's probably the easiest thing. It makes for a very, very, very ugly regular expression. But I could do it. So yeah. Also too, technically speaking, this doesn't support dash. So then you'd either have to have a really ugly regular expression, or you'd have to normalize it, keep a flag that you normalized it, and then potentially unnormalize it to pass the data back out of here. I don't write my migrations this way per se, and I kind of expected Laravel to flatten it or normalize it itself the way it did for the capital case, but it didn't do that here. So I think that's something I am willing to support. I just kind of have to figure out the proper solution. I would like to have seen it pull out remove users and then Stripe dash ID. That's not the way I make my databases, but I think it's, whatever. So yeah. Cool. Okay. I think this was good. I think this is really where the nitty-gritty is. Everything else is just string replacement in a stub file. So I'm going to backfill a test, make sure to drive out all of these paths that we kind of quickly coded here between my memory and Copilot, and make sure everything's correct. Because I probably already have some incorrect, match references here. So, yes, I think there's some cleaning up of regexes to do. And then that. So, all right, let's see what's going on in the chat, and then we'll finish up here. It makes for an ugly regular expression. Yeah. Regular expressions are not intimidating to me. I appreciate that I am probably crazy in that regard. But I guess my point is like what I'm saying, and I you know what I'm saying, but like now I got to do something like pipe or underscore, right? Like, and it's just it's like a 2-character alteration. It's really nasty. I mean, you can already tell like it doesn't like it. so like, I got to do basically this everywhere on all of these. And I think before that, like now it looks like a regular expression, right? To your point. Now it looks like, what the hell is this line noise here? You got, question mark, colon, and then brackets, and then like a little freaking smiley face here. Like, it's crazy. I think before that, there is a chance, just by like kind of like delimiting here, there's a chance you can kind of read this and see what's going on, especially for the ones that are a little more, like you could read that. So Anyway, I think the thing to do would be like normalize dashes, right? And then like unnormalize. So yeah, better to normalize and replace dash with underscore. Yes, but go back and listen to what I said, 5 minutes ago. Like, yes, you can normalize the dashes, but we need to respect their column and potential table names, right? Their table names, technically speaking, could have a dash in there, and then I just normalized it. So I need to unnormalize if I normalized. And that's going to be very hard to know if you normalize that segment. I mean, if you really wanted to do it right, you'd have to normalize it, and then in your preg match, what you really would do is you wouldn't capture the matches directly. You would capture their offsets, and then chunk those offsets out of the original name. That's what you would do. That's the way you would do it. So I'll show that code next week. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining live. See you next week for hopefully the third and final part of this.